I chose medicine because I really wanted to help people, to make it very simple. Now that sounds corny, but in point of fact, that was really my mantra and still is. I haven't changed.
MaxGXL was developed by Dr. Robert H. Keller, a researcher and clinical physician who has been named one of the world's 2,000 outstanding scientists of the 21st century. Dr. Keller has served on the scientific review panels for the National Institutes of Health and the VA. He's also published more than 100 original articles and has been awarded several patents. With his extensive knowledge and expertise, Dr. Keller was not satisfied with simply working to avoid or cure disease. He chose to pursue a medical method for improving his patients' quality of life.
Since I had a variety of patients who suffered from low energy, lack of mental focus, I can't get out of bed in the morning, or if I get out of bed in the morning, by 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm ready to go back to bed. This looked like the answer to it. What, in essence, we're doing is empowering each cell in the body to function to its full potential. If you use a glutathione supplement, it will be destroyed in your stomach before it is absorbed in your body.
And even if glutathione could reach the cells, the glutathione molecule is simply too big and heavy to pass through the cell membrane.
Look at it this way. You've got a hole this big and a substance this big. It doesn't fit in very well. MaxGXL, on the other hand, contains the components of glutathione that, when absorbed into the body, will be maximally created into glutathione so it can be used within each and every cell in your body. I can only say this from the bottom of my heart and from everything that I've learned in medicine and science over the last 30 years. We are all subject to aging. And one of the key elements that we have the ability to control, we meaning each and every one of us, is the ability to stop this inevitable rusting that goes on in our body. And the way to do that, folks, in my estimation, is one and only MaxGXL.
Tell me about Art Sellinger today, what you're doing.
Well, Art Sellinger today owns Long Drivers of America. I couldn't win that event anymore, Steve, so I bought it. And I produced the event for ESPN, the RE/MAX World Long Drive Championship. It's going to be coming up on television December 20th on ESPN and December 25th on ESPN2. It'll be seen worldwide.
Now tell me how you found out about Max and what it's meant to you.
Max, I was introduced to the product 8 months ago, like everybody else. You know, we have our issues when it comes to whether it's focus or stamina or just general soreness, and I was experiencing a lot of stuff. And I was introduced to the product and just found it amazing. It's been a fantastic experience, and I'm enjoying the game. I'm playing a lot of golf. When I do get a chance to play, I play a lot of golf. That could mean 36, 54 holes in a day.
Wow. Wow. And you can get through that.
I really can. I can now go hit 300-400 practice balls. I can hit golf balls for a prolonged period of time and not have the issues that I was having before, for sure.
And you couldn't do that before you got on Max?
No, that's an absolute no. I was having major problems.
My big issue before is I was getting the club up too much. And now I'm trying to get the club deeper into my right side. That's so critical for me to get that chest to the back so I can come in from that position. I never could get there before.
Wow.
And I was getting more over the top, not rotational enough, finishing more like this, causing some stuff in my back. Now I can get my shoulder to the target, never could get there. So that's my whole goal in my swing, is get this shoulder to the target.
And you couldn't do that before Max?
Well, I definitely had impingement all over the place to where I could not get rotational. So I'd collapse and lift, then I'd try to hit it with my hands and didn't have the rotation. I found a lot of photos and video of this position rather than that position, and that's critical. So I'm just gonna sit here, 2 turns and a whoosh, trying to get through. Nothing blocks me, so watch the right shoulder. That was the key side for me, was the right side. Boom.
Wow.
And now look where I'm at. I'm getting my chest to the left like I've never been before.
Now how far was that?
That was a good one.
It just
my favorite part is it's
perfectly
straight. It always
Nothing.
went far, but the straight part was the hard part.
Wow.
So the swing I'm kind of learning again is more connected, more rotational. That probably flew 310 yards.
I swing the golf club over 120 miles an hour. I used to swing it 150 miles an hour.
Wow.
And you know, to give people an idea, the average player is going to swing the club 80 miles an hour. So swinging the club 50% harder and faster than most, and you're going to use all the joints in your body and things like that, so it's definitely taxing.
How long could you go before you'd really start to feel the fatigue set in, whether it was mentally or physically?
It was really physical. I mean, all sorts of issues again in the body that just could not keep up from the impact.
So before, how many holes could you do comfortably before you got on the
Well, I
product?
mean, you know, definitely would never walk. I
Okay.
would always play in a cart, and now I walk and carry at least once a week at my club. And I would hit a half a bag of balls, which is about 45 golf balls. And now if I have time, I can hit 3-4 bags of golf balls. That's no issue. I can hit golf balls all day long.
Wow.
and take the pounding, and I'm fine.
So on a 1 to 10, where were you before the product?
I would have to say I was a 3
Okay. And
or
where-
4 just from good gifted ability, and now I'm fine. I mean, if you want to call it a 10, that's great. I mean, I have no, knock wood, I have no issues right now.
Now, what's
It
that
stays
do
way.
for the way you feel about yourself and during the day?
Well, it makes a big difference, especially from performance-wise. I expect to see and feel a certain way on the golf course. I've hit golf balls my whole life. That's all I've done since I was 9 years old.
Wow.
And I hit a lot of golf balls, and I entertain. I've done over 2,000 golf shows in 24 countries around the world. So I can always get amped up for that, and that's nice. But now, you know, it's great to play 18 holes, and then if there's time, I can go play another 18.
Wow. Now, have you gotten any friends or any competitors on the product and seen anything with them?
I have. Bobby Wilson is a dear friend, and Bobby's probably the winningest player in our Long Drivers of America history. Jason Zubak won 5 world titles, but Bobby's won 12 of these LDA Tour events, and he's also won a world championship. And Bobby pulled off a pretty good miracle at 53 years old. Bobby won both the senior competition and the super senior competition this past October in Mesquite, Nevada.
Where was he before he started on the product?
Well, he was having a lot of issues, physical issues, and again, to hit in 3 divisions in that week, there's not enough time for me to explain you what kind of pounding we're talking about right there and how hard you're hitting the golf ball, basically for 7 straight days.
Wow.
And again, we're not talking about a 6-foot putt or a 50-yard wedge shot. We are talking about hitting the golf ball as far as humanly possible. There's no second shot in this game. There's a 450-yard grid. Who can hit it the furthest down that grid in the fairway is the winner.
Wow.
Bobby, at 53 years old, averaged 370 yards per tee shot. And to put that in perspective, when you look at a Tiger Woods play the game, or the highest speed players on tour, they're averaging 310 to 320.
Wow.
So these are extraordinary distances.
Wow. Well, Art, what are some of the other things you've noticed since you've been on the product? You've been on it for 8 months now. You've had to have seen.
And I'm
quite a
sure
few
everybody
changes.
watching thinks I just have this great life of playing golf every day, and it's far from it. I'm busy at home with 2 wonderful kids, and I own 3 businesses. Long Drivers of America, I have my golf shop as well, and I have a management company managing some of the players. I still do a few outings, and I am 24/7. I am busy, and you know, the emails don't turn off and the texts don't turn off, and I'm traveling about 120 days a year. So I'm very busy with my lifestyle and my business, and I just noticed that I don't hit the wall. It's just period. I don't hit the wall. I'm up every single morning with my son at 6 a.m., and I'll just go full out till probably 11:30, 12 o'clock every day, and have no issue and just keep going. So I kind of take it for granted now, and hope it doesn't end.
Okay, our first interview today is with a tremendous guy by the name of Bobby Wilson, a 54-year-old golfer. Now, I have to tell you about Bobby. He is the first golfer to ever qualify and compete in 3 divisions of the World Long Drive Championship. The scary thing about this guy is that he won 2 of those divisions. Now imagine playing 3 times a day in each one of those divisions, hitting, I don't know, phenomenal amount of balls during that period of time. What's amazing about this is each drive averaged about 370 yards. That's almost 4 football fields. Can you imagine doing that all day long for 7 days? he attributes his success to MaxGXL. Let's have a look.
Now, I understand in the long drive competition, you competed in several categories the same week, right?
I did. I felt so good that I qualified for the open division, and then I was already in the senior division, and this was my first year in the super senior. So one of the goals was I'm the first guy to ever qualify for 3 divisions at a world championship and hit in it.
Okay, now lay those divisions out for me. Define what each
Well,
one is.
the open division is basically from 18 years old on up.
Okay.
You can stop at 45 and be a senior and move into that division till 52, and then at 53 you're in a super senior. And I had just turned 53 this year, so I said, why not give it a shot?
Wow. So you competed in all 3.
I competed in all 3.
And how did you do?
Well, I reached a goal. I won 2 world championships, one in the senior and one in the super senior, and I did it in one night.
Wow. Wow. Now, how did you do in the open?
I got around round 4, round 5, and it wasn't because of my fatigue or anything else. These just young guys can hit it.
Yeah.
And
Those darn young guys.
Those darn young guys.
So now, where were you before you started taking MaxGXL? Where were you in your long drive competition? I mean, had you peaked? Were you going up? Where were you in your career?
I felt like my swing was good. Because of some of my issues, I couldn't train as long as I wanted to, and recovery time was 2 or 3 days because of swelling in certain areas of my body. And it was one of those magical moments, if I could call it. You know, I was on the product and I went out to train and hit balls, and the next day I got up and I wasn't sore. I didn't feel that, and I said, well, let's go out and do it again. Let's just see what happens. Maybe my body right now is just getting used to the training. But as days went on, I just kept hitting balls. And I like to tell people at 53 years old, I was averaging 80 to 100 drivers a day, full built, going full speed, and I did it for 6 weeks.
Wow. Now, what's your club head speed?
They said it was around 136 miles an hour.
Wow. Wow. And the competition themselves was a 1-week competition?
1 week. I have to tell you this. I qualified on a Saturday. I had qualifying for the super seniors on Sunday. I had qualifying on the seniors on Monday. Open was Tuesday, and we were postponed till Wednesday. I hit also. Thursday I played in the Pro-Am. Friday morning I had re-qualifying in the seniors, and then Friday afternoon was 2 world titles.
Wow. I mean, how did you feel? Had you ever won 2 even a world championship before?
I've won one world championship,
Okay.
But no one had ever won 2 in one night. No one had ever hit in 3 divisions. And, you know, you just kind of want to say, hey, this was a goal I set. Because one of my passwords, I'm going to tell you this, on my emails was 3 titles 2009.
Wow.
And I got 2 out of 3. And I have to tell you, earlier in the month, I had won a tournament here in Salt Lake City with my partner, Jason Zubak. We won the Johnny Miller's Champions Challenge. So I really did get 3 titles in 2009.
Wow. Wow. Now, where do you think you'd be if you hadn't started on Max?
I would not be as strong, I don't think, as far as my golf swing. I wouldn't have been as flexible because I'm an instructor also, Steve. And I work with guys that go, Bobby, I can't make that move because it hurts. And I go, well, I understand. We don't want to push you past a pain limit or whatever. But when you don't feel certain pains and you have more fluidity and you're more limber, you feel great. And you feel like, man, I can make the swing that I always used to make. And that's how I felt. I felt like a young kid again. Wow.
And no hype. In other words, this isn't just up here.
It wasn't there because I know. I mean, I know my body. You might not know this, but I was on the 1980 Olympic handball team. So I know about working out. I know about training. And I know when you need recovery. I know all these things. And to have this feeling with me was like, golly, I'm back training for the Olympics again. I'm young again.
Now, after you went day 1 on the competition, you woke up the next morning. Did you feel like you were really recovered, more recovered than normal? Or, I mean...
Well, I hit all day on Saturday
Okay.
to get into that open division.
Right.
Sunday afternoon, I had the super senior qualifying. I went out and hit balls Sunday morning to warm up.
Wow.
I felt that good.
Wow. Wow. And this is really unusual. See, I'm not a golfer.
Okay.
And so this is really unusual.
Oh, to all golfers, everybody has an ache or a pain or something. And just to get a little relief is just a great feeling. It really is.
Wow. Now, tell me about your thoughts about next year. Where are you going to be? What you going to do?
Well, with the way I feel now, and I took some time off, but I'm going to train harder. And instead of I'm going to try the 3 divisions again, but I also have a better goal. I think I can get into the top 8 in the open division.
Wow.
I want these young guys to know I'm back. I'm the new Benjamin Buttons of long drive.
There you go. Now, how far did you hit the ball?
In the super senior, I hit it 362 yards, and in the senior, I won at 374. And Art Sillinger told me, Bobby, he said, I think you need to know this. Your average for the week was 370 yards.
Wow.
So you're 53 years old, and you're averaging 370 yards.
Wow.
How do you feel? And I was like, I feel great.
When I hear stories like yours, I think, what would have happened if Art had just gotten on the product, taken it, enjoyed all the improvement that he got, and sat on it, never shared it with his friends? Where would you be now?
I wouldn't be having 2 world titles. As my wife would say, I wouldn't have glass in the trophy case. I mean, I do know that for a fact. And but Art's a good friend, and to share something like that with me, and he said it with a passion, and he said it with sincerity. He said, Bobby, please take this and try it, and tell me how you feel.
Now, have you been telling other people about it?
I didn't at the Worlds.
Yeah,
I want to win those titles.
Yeah, there you
but
go.
now I am. Now I'm telling everybody. I want them to feel it.
Wow. And have you gotten anybody on the product yet?
I sure have. I mean, I had a dear friend call me. He's from this area, Rick Mayer, and Rick has been around golf a long time. And he saw me. He saw this show in Art, and he knew I'd won 2 world titles. And he called me immediately. He said, "I've seen the MaxGXL television show. Did this help you?" And I said, "Yes, it did." And he said, "We need to talk."
Wow. Wow. Now you've become an independent associate.
Yes, I have.
Terrific. Terrific.
Yes, I
Well,
have.
it's fun to have multiple streams of income,
Oh, absolutely.
especially when you believe in the product as much as you do.
Oh, I do.
And what would you say to other golfers out there if you had to tell them why you're excited about this product?
Well, because I think it would be beneficial to them. It really would be. I think just the way it was handed to me was try it for 2 weeks and just tell me how you feel. Tell me if you see any results. I'm not saying this is a cure-all for anything. Just try it.
Yeah.
And what do you have to lose? Nothing, because I'm going to let you try it for 2 weeks.
You think now you're going to try the Open next year,
Absolutely.
okay, and you want to be in the top 8. Here's my suggestion.
Okay.
Let's say we don't tell anybody under 50 before the competition. Let's not give the young guys one more advantage.
I don't want to do that.
There you go.
But you know what? I want the competition because I feel like I can compete now.
There.
As I said, the issues are gone.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can compete. And my swing is good enough, so now I can go back to just doing some strength training and some flexibility, and I don't have to hurt the next day, and I'm ready to go.
Terrific story. Now I got to ask you, how does it feel to be, you're 53, right?
53, almost 54 in a week.
Almost 54. How does it feel to be 54 and feel better than you felt in your 40s?
It's a wonderful feeling. You know, a good book says the latter would be better.
Yeah.
And so I am looking forward to it. I feel like I've got better days ahead of me, training again, fun again. I mean, I have life again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just can't wait when I get out of bed to see what the day holds.
Yeah. Now when your wife says act your age, you think she's talking about a 30-year-old.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay.
When you're fortunate enough to travel around the world and see genius and a lot of opportunities, but it's less of an opportunity where you actually get to be in the same room with genius. And a lot of the times that you do get a chance to glimpse about it by reading it in a journal or hearing it on the news or seeing somebody interviewed about it. But when you have the chance to be involved with a company, with a man down the far end, with the belief and the passion that he has about putting some product out there on a global basis for everybody, no matter how rich you are or how poor you are, that's what Max is all about. And that gentleman there has the ability, has created the ability, and will continue on through gentlemen like Steve Scott. And if you get people like that with the passion of a company, then it's easy for somebody like me to come along, to take a look at it through the invitation. And it was a no-brainer for me. It was an absolute no-brainer. And not only that, I'll give you a little example about what I believe is everybody in this room here and everybody associated with Max. In other businesses that I'm involved with, we look at SKUs, SKUs, which is what the product or a product you sell out there to the consumer. The consumer can only buy that by the salespeople. The salespeople give you the feedback by what the consumer tells you. To me, the greatest barometer for the success of a company is when a consumer tells your salesperson there's nothing wrong with your product. But we wish that was always going to be the case. I know in other companies I'm involved with, you always take a look at what is that feedback out there. Now, when I hear the testimonials, sitting next to Elizabeth tonight, whereas Kathy was in the room, I sat with Kathy, to hear the testimonials of each and every one of you, there's no excuse coming back. It tells you that everything out there is absolutely 100% correct. It was very easy for me to get involved. And in closing, I used to have a saying that I used to tell everybody. You give a kid an M&M young enough in his life, he'll eat M&Ms the rest of his life. That's changed. Now, give a kid Max early in his life, and he'll have Max for the rest of his life. Thanks very much.
The first thing I did, this is my little Max story. You know, I sat down, you guys came to San Francisco, we had lunch. Sounded good, but a lot of things sound good. And I said, you know what, let me take it. At that point in time, probably 10 years retired. Like I said earlier, I live in the Bay Area, which just like here is very active, outdoor. I like to swim and I ride my bike and I like to stay fit. I got 4 children of my own. We have busy schedules, my wife and I, between carpooling and soccer, lacrosse, basketball, football. So it's important to be able to not only show up, but actually be there, be attentive and want to be there too as well. So I took Max for, 4 or 5 months, and little by little started feeling a little better physically, The one thing I really appreciate, I sleep much better. I feel like I don't need as much sleep when I'm taking Max. Recently went through a knee surgery. Surprisingly so, the first knee surgery I've ever had, and was kind of bummed out. You know what I mean? My body was not, I wouldn't say breaking down, but I was losing a lot of energy and zest for the thing I love. I love to be active. And I really was getting away from that, kind of almost giving in to aches and pains and just saying I'm getting old. And it wasn't a good feeling. It was really zapping me of who I was, really my core. That's who I am. And then little by little, after taking Max, I found myself at the end of the week saying, you know what, I had a good week. I worked out almost every day, maybe twice a day. I'm not hurting. I had my knee surgery, and over the course of 16 years playing the NBA, I've had different injuries and took too much anti-inflammatories. I don't like taking them. My body doesn't handle them well. So prior to my knee surgery, started loading up a little bit more on Max. And incredibly, 6-7 days after my knee surgery, with no anti-inflammatories whatsoever, was basically back doing my regular routine. And so I'm just like 5 weeks out now. We took that trip to Detroit.
Yep.
Right, that was 6 days later after my knee, and I thought I wasn't going to be able to make it. And so my feeling is this is why I tell people, take it first, take the product, and it'll sell itself, right? It's gonna do you incredible good for your body and your mind. But for me, the thing that Max has done for me, because I'm not gonna give up. That's not who I am. But the thing I love about it is I want to do it. To me, that's more important than getting through a workout or getting through the day. Waking up and going after the day, that's the difference. And it's the combination of, I do believe it's a combination of feeling better physically, but also sleeping better. That's very important. Sleep is huge to recover. It's a big part of recovery. Just yesterday, because I'm still in physical therapy, got up, rode my bike for like 16, 17 miles. I went and did my physical therapy. I got on the treadmill and I swam in one day. I knew I was taking today off, but that's, again, 5 weeks out. And it's not, I mean, I could probably do that and get through it, but the fact that I want to do it, it really is a gift. It really is. Because I've always had that, and I started losing it. It's like I said earlier, going to practice, to me, I used to look, a lot of guys don't like practice. I was kind of the guy they used to get upset with, because I would be there early and want to practice, and they're like, we're trying to get out of here, dude. Slow down with all that. But so when I lost that, I started feeling like, I started feeling old, basically. And, you know, 9 months later, I feel grateful that I was introduced to you and this product, and I pass it on to family, friends, associates, after it proved it to me. And that was important, because, you know, we all of us, the number one thing we have is our reputation and our integrity.
That's right.
And so once it worked for me, I feel totally 100% confident to pass it on to the people I love.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the four-time heavyweight champion of the world, Evander the Real Deal Holyfield.
It's okay, it's okay.
It's a pleasure. Good to meet you.
Oh, look at this. NSF Sports Certified. Thanks, Evander. Well, Evander, we appreciate you coming out. We know that your schedule is very busy. First question then for us would be, you know, for an athlete like yourself, why would NSF Sports Certification be important?
Well, it's very important. Like I said earlier today, that, you know, I worked so hard as a kid to achieve the things that I've achieved, you know, making the Olympic team, been the only man to be the heavyweight champion of the world 4 times, and of course, you know, it's so many different products out there. If it's not tested, and you know, people always say I was the guy that was small, that probably cheat, and they just hadn't found out. So it's important for me to have a regulation to know that anything that I put in my body is going to be right. Because the fact of the matter, I work too hard to all of a sudden throw it away for something that someone just say that could help me.
Absolutely. We know that would be important for other athletes as well, high caliber athletes like yourself. And speaking of which, you've got many friends that are high caliber athletes, other arenas. How would you explain the benefits of the Max products to them?
Well, the most important thing is that, you know, all athletes always think about how fast I'm going to recover.
Right.
You know, I work hard, but if I'm not going to recover, I don't know if I want to do it again.
By the way, I didn't recover very fast after that.
So, you know, the most important thing is recovery. You know, and, you know, it's just like the average person, if they run, but if they hurt for 5 days, 5 days is a long time. So, you know, when you get that instant recovery like that you get from the Max, you know, I'm like, it works.
Perfect. You know, you were mentioning last night when we were out to dinner that you know, you've kind of had these histories of your body being able to, you get some cramps and so forth, and you know, since taking the products, and there's all sorts of things that have been going well for you, and we appreciate that these things have been happening to you. Any last thoughts for the group here?
Well, I guess, you know, the most important thing in life itself about being the very best that you could be. You know, you have to be thankful to the people who sit around and, you know, think about the products and stuff that allow you to live longer. You know, one of the most important things is health. I'm saying, you know, without health, what is life? And so, you know, I'm so glad that this, you know, with me, I've always been one of them guys that stayed in shape, worked hard, but knowing that the older I got, it was difficult. And I was wondering, was that ever going to be something that could allow me to, you know, not just get old, but live good and being old, you know, free from stress.
Yeah. Well, you know, look, quality of life is a big tool. And Evander, we know you've got to catch a flight, but we very much appreciate you being here. Folks, welcome applause for the real deal Holyfield.